Alright, so proficiency 11 practice. This is net ionic equations. So again, this is probably going to be hard to see, but you can get on my website and download it and play along at home, and it'll make more sense. So let's talk about first what this aqueous means, what this dissolved in water means. If you remember, nickel nitrate dissolved in water, I've drawn this picture 1,000 times, this is my magical beaker. If something's aqueous, if it's dissolved in water, what's really going on there is the ions are all broken up, floating around in water. So then also, same thing, we have our potassiums and our carbonates just floating around in water. So that's what aqueous means. So when we pour those both together in one big beaker, it's very possible that something's going to make a solid. So what you got to do is look at your two products here and see if one of them is going to make a solid. Exactly the same way you did on proficiency number 10 before. So if you go to do that, nitrates are always soluble, so is potassium, so that's going to be aqueous. But carbonates are insoluble, except for Rule 1. Nickel's not in Rule 1. So this is going to be our solid. So what that means is when you combine these two things together, you're going to get some nickel carbonate solid that sinks to the bottom, that becomes solid, and then your Ks and your NO3s are still going to be floating around in solution. So really, they didn't do anything. They were floating around before, they're floating around after, they don't really matter. So we can just like pretend they didn't ever exist. They're called spectator ions. They don't really matter. So what happened here is nickel with a +2 charge was dissolved in water. It combined with carbonate with a -2 charge that was also dissolved in water, and it made nickel carbonate solid. So this is the answer. That is a net ionic equation. It's what actually happened to the ions. The rest of the stuff, it didn't really matter. They were dissolved before, they were dissolved after, it doesn't matter. So then the answer to this is, well, this. Right? So then, again, if we do one more here, you'll get better at these as time goes as well, but this is going to be your solid. Make sure things are balanced. Things seem to be balanced. So you're going to say Ag plus Cl made AgCl. And that's your answer.